Hello, my name is Taryn, and welcome to my channel. Today I really wanted to talk about a movie called The Forbidden Room. It was made by Guy Maddin in, was it 2014? Gosh, I don't even know. Anyway, so let me kind of tell you who I am. My name is Taryn. I am a Canadian filmmaker, and I learned about Guy Maddin in film school. So I was actually really excited to see this kind of work of a Canadian filmmaker. I have seen Twilight of the Ice Nymphs, which I enjoyed that one. It was fun. It was a good time. Reeks of Canadian filmmaking, unfortunately. The thing about, I don't know if, listen, I love being in Canada. I love it. But our film, I don't know what it is. They all look like not good. I don't know what it is about Canadian film. They just look bad. They always do. They always have. I don't know what it is. But anyway, I've seen Twilight of the Ice Nymphs, and I've seen his Dracula film, and both of those I really enjoyed. I enjoyed those a lot. This is, I think, his worst movie I've seen. I've never seen My Winnipeg. I'm really interested in watching that one still. But yeah, I don't know to what extent I'm a Guy Maddin fan. I find him inspirational, and I find him interesting. But I don't know if I think he succeeds in everything that he goes for. So the plot is very interesting. It's kind of an avant-garde film. I've been on an avant-garde kick recently, and the movie basically follows men trapped in a sub underwater, and they're carrying this kind of jelly that's going to explode, but it's not because of the pressure or something. And then suddenly they find a lumberjack in kind of like a thing here. And then they take him out, and they're like, what are you doing down here? And then he tells a story about his lumberjack, and then in his story, there's a woman named Margaret, and then she tells a story, and then inside that story, oh man, and then eventually you're hearing a story from the perspective of a mustache. And then you're hearing a story from, it's just a very interesting film. Now, conceptually, I love it. I love the idea here. I think there's something to be said for this very interesting avant-garde experiment. You can tell, Guy Maddin's very inspired by the filmmaker Stan Brakhage, who I quite like. I just watched Dog Star Man actually a couple weeks ago, and I really enjoy his style. The thing about Stan Brakhage, though, is he's got this very experimental kind of burning clusterfuck texture aesthetic. Now, I love texture. I love it. And his films always looked beautiful. No matter what you do, they're a clusterfuck, but they look beautiful. The biggest fault of The Forbidden Room is it is quite simply the ugliest film I may have ever seen. Unfortunately. Second, Pathfinder's #1. You ever seen Pathfinder? Awful film. Anyway, I digress. I love the concept of The Forbidden Room. I'm a really big fan of patchwork filmmaking. I love scrapbooking, this kind of aesthetic of clusterfuck. But the movie suffers from a few things, in my opinion. Now, first of all, and I respect it as an artistic achievement, but the movie does suffer from a few things, in my opinion. I'm going to get into those. Now, first off, again, as I said, it's one of the ugliest films I may have ever seen. There's kind of this, they're trying to emulate certain burning of the film, and all that stuff is really cool. But in the meantime, there's just kind of these other color palettes. It looks so muddy. There's nothing crisp in it. Let me take you back. Now, I'm very opinionated on this because when I was younger, I used to love an effect called film styles that I would toss on everything. Now, the thing is, I still toss it on everything. But I had it caked on too damn much. I was trying to get the look of halation, but at that time, halation wasn't a word I knew it. And so I was trying to make the light kind of glow, but I inadvertently made everything kind of muddy and caked, and there's no like broadcast safe kind of filter. There's nothing going on here. And that's what the Forbidden Room kind of reminds me of. And I think if Guy Maddin was a college student and he made this film in college, I would be a lot easier on it. But he's like a 50-something, 60-something, well-established filmmaker, and the level of ugliness of this film is a little too much for me, in my opinion. I don't think it looks particularly good. Now, second off, though, you end up having, it's shot to be akin to a silent film, right? It's meant to look and kind of create this vibe of a silent film, but the entire thing is done quite handheld, which could be interesting. I don't personally find it interesting, though. It just looks like a homemade student film to me. And if I'm supposed to get kind of silent film from it, I think it kind of fails at that. There's a movie that came out the other year called Hundreds of Beavers. I love Hundreds of Beavers. That's an incredible achievement in filmmaking. And it has quite a lo-fi aesthetic to it. But, I like looking at it. It's cool, it's interesting. It takes the idea of a silent film and juxtaposes it with JPEG animation, essentially, and fursuits. And it's funny, it's interesting, it intrigues me as a concept. The Forbidden Room doesn't do that for me, you know? I watch it and I go, that was cool. Let me take you on a kind of a chronological journey of my emotions throughout the film. It began and I went, okay, I love this kind of Stan Brakhage-esque burning. That's cool. That's 10 out of 10, actually. And I love the title card. It's amazing. Oh, it's so beautiful. But then, what do you got? You got the submarine scene. It's just a bunch of guys talking. Not very interesting. It's not well shot. It's not very well edited. And it's all handheld, so I don't quite get that kind of vibe I'm supposed to get, I think. The mystery is somewhat interesting, though. I apologize, I don't really know what happened. Some kind of technical thing. I had to change the camera. Where was I? Okay, so then you get to the lumberjack story, which is, I mean, it's the ugliest, I think, bit of filmmaking I've ever seen. It's so gross to look at. I'm like, okay, and nothing really happens. I'm like, okay. But then something happens. You get to the cave, and I was, like, very intrigued by it. It's kind of sexy, kind of gross looking, too. Very interesting scene. I was like, oh, now I'm on board. This is very interesting. And then you have the Derriere song, a musical number about butts starring Udo Kier. Very interesting. I recently watched James Bond's Quantum of Solace, and it was very actually interesting to see the villain from that film is actually in this one, which is interesting. I don't know where he got these actors from. I don't know how big he is. And then it kind of becomes even more of a clusterfuck. You got kind of these scenes based in based in an airplane. I don't really know what's going on with that. But then, oh my god, the scene with the mustache. So, okay, so where do we even go from here? The James Bond villain plays a rich aristocrat in an elevator hotel room. Like, his hotel room is an elevator going up constantly. And Udo Kier, who loves butts, seems to be playing a different character with a mustache. And James Bond villain's wife accuses Udo Kier of stealing, so James Bond villain kills Udo Kier, and then steals his mustache, and then you see Udo Kier's life from the perspective of his mustache about and that's my favorite part. This is a perfect short film, directed by Guy Maddin. Still not aesthetically the best, but I think like that part is incredible, and I really enjoyed that. But it's just such a bizarre movie. It's such a bizarre film, and I did enjoy trying to solve the mystery of it. And then you have this kind of big epic climax, which goes, which really is edited to the extreme and makes you feel something. So I really enjoyed that too. Overall, I don't know how to feel about this film. Like, it really, I mean, if I was to give it a rating, perhaps I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It had enough going on to really interest me, and I find it very inspirational. Watching this movie, I was like, I would love to make an experiment much akin to this. This is fun. But God, it's just so hard to look at. It's just so ugly, and the acting isn't. And when I think about like the logistics of it, the acting's terrible. The filmmaking is dreadful. The scene by scene editing is wonderful. I love the weird little clusterfuck stuff that they're doing, the film burn effects. But the actual scene editing, I don't like. It's much akin to I really don't like Christopher Nolan's films very much. And I'm always one of the things that I always say is like, oh, I don't like his editing style. And everyone's like, yeah, non-chronology isn't for everyone. I'm like, no, the non-chronology is fine. That's not the part I mean like the scene editing. It's just it's a clusterfuck to me. Anyway, that's a ramble for another day, I'm sure. But overall, I'm thankful I watched it. I would suggest it if you are a hardcore cinephile. If you're not, I don't know if this movie would do anything for you. But overall, I had a really, really good time watching it. Thanks for coming to my channel, and thank you for watching. Cheers.